In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program on LancasterOhio.tv. We're also carried by the Fairfield County Sheriff's our Facebook and Twitter account. So certainly tell your friends and neighbors. We are appreciative of each and every one of you that join us now into our about 8th or 9th year on television and our 17th year on radio. And the show is produced here at Fairfield Christian Academy. The students do a great job. Our behind-the-scene director, executive producer is Kelly Roberts. There she is there, and she does a good job lining the guests up and getting a lot of the questions together. Well, we have with us today Sergeant Sean Burke, 24-year veteran. He is actually the Supervisor of the Year for 2017. Every year, the Sheriff's Office, through an awards committee, we make nominations, employees make nominations, and it was a good choice this year. I appreciate all the work you do. You come with a tremendous amount of experience and a lot of common sense. You notice that over the years, which helps.
Yes, it does.
Well, last week we talked a little bit, since you're probably the senior member of our SWAT team, right? You've been there almost 20 years?
One of the few, yes.
Yeah, the 20 years. And we talked a little bit about how you become a SWAT member, and tell us some of the things that you have to go through to become a member of our SWAT team.
First and foremost, we want a letter of your interest, and then we hold tryouts. And tryouts consist of physical fitness, put you through a run, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and then we go through some scenario-based training, how you handle yourself during that training, firearms, how you handle your sidearm plus a couple other weapon platforms. So it's an all-day event. And
you know, with the recent tragedies we've seen at schools, one of the things you always see on the news, you see the SWAT team coming in. So you guys try to train for about any eventuality, right?
Yes.
And the other thing we talked about before airtime is the Sheriff's Office has a new radio system. So tell us a little bit about how that impacts the patrol division and how that came about.
One, thank you for going to a new radio system. The MARC system is pretty much statewide.
Okay.
We can talk to other agencies. We can, if we have a major event, we can switch to another channel and not tie up the main channel. It just has much more versatility than what we used to have.
And an ability that no matter where you go in the state, you can communicate,
You can
right?
communicate, yes.
And with our older system, we were having some dead spots in the county, right?
Yes, quite a few dead spots in the county.
Yeah. For our viewers and listeners, a dead spot would be an area where we would not be able to communicate, and that could be that's not a very good situation for law enforcement not be able to use your communication centers.
Talking to a dispatcher, they kind of are your lifeline.
I often think that probably one of the toughest jobs in law enforcement is dispatchers.
Yes, they have a tremendous responsibility.
Now, you worked in the radio room for a while?
Yes, and I'm very appreciative of the dispatchers.
Yeah, I am too. I think they have a tough job, and things have changed so much. We had Ted Duffus on not very long ago, and just the amount now of people calling in on their cell phones. You know, 10 years ago, everybody was on landline.
Correct.
Now everybody's on their cell
On their
phones,
cell phone.
and puts the dispatchers, and even you for that matter, right at the scenes of these events, because there's that direct communication. One of the other things we talked a little bit about last week is the fact that on the 3 different shifts in law enforcement, there's different responsibilities, there's different type of policing that's done, and I don't think the citizens often know that. And you talked a little bit about some of the responsibilities of first shift, that you have a litter patrol, you have weights and scales, the court system, a host of different things. But what would be some of the major, or some of the different responsibilities that would be on second and third shift?
Second shift is fairly busy. The majority of their calls are calls for service, whether it be a barking dog or while they're at work, someone broke into their home.
Right.
Or a domestic situations. And not that day shift doesn't have that, just not to that scale.
And I think people would be surprised if a lot of times, because now both couples work, when they come home, that's typically the burglars happen in the daytime, right? And they come home and find their house broken into, and then the next thing you know, second trick of summons.
And typically during school, when
Right.
kids are in school, parents are at work, that's when we find the daytime burglaries. Now, summertime, not so much.
Okay, now what about third shift then?
Third shift is a little bit different animal.
Yeah.
Normally, if you're encountering somebody on third shift, you're either getting them going to or from work, or they're up to no good.
Right, right.
They're out checking businesses, because businesses are typically closed during their shift. So they're out making sure that businesses are intact and protecting property.
Now, been on 24 years. Is there some particular calls or some particular situations that kind of really kind of stick with you? You remember pretty distinctly because they were impactful.
One time when I first started, I was working dispatch and received a 911 call, and it was a lady that was getting ready to have a baby.
Oh my!
And I was able to help her through that until the fire department or the medics arrived to help that out. The baby was coming at the time the medics got there.
So you were able to kind of help her through that.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
You know, and the other thing that has kind of changed too is within our dispatch center, we have medical dispatching now, where the dispatchers can key in a certain kind of call, and on the screen it tells them what advice to give to the people on the phone, like if they found someone that was maybe underwater for a period of time, or had a heart attack or a stroke or a host of different things. That's been a big help.
Yes, it's been a help.
Did you know, just backtracking a little bit, you have a couple girls, right?
Yes, I have 2 daughters.
And your dad actually was, as I saw in some of the notes, he was an armed worker, but he's also a coach.
Yes.
And pretty renowned, actually, wasn't he?
Yes, fairly locally in Central Ohio, he was fairly well known.
So
Yes.
what did he coach?
His passion was basketball.
Okay.
He loved basketball.
And he was out at, it was the Fairfield Union?
Yeah, he coached there for, I believe, 18 years.
Really?
Girls varsity basketball out there.
Wow. Wow. Now, were you involved in sports when you were in school?
Yes, I played football, baseball, basketball.
And were you Fairfield Union?
Yes, I graduated from Fairfield Union.
Wow, wow. So, so have you done any coaching?
Early on, when I got out of school, I helped my dad. He used to coach down in Bremen too.
Okay.
So I helped him with younger kids down there, and then I've helped a few times when my daughters played
Nice.
softball.
Nice,
So.
nice. Well, getting back to earlier, I talked a little bit about daytime burglaries and things like that. What are some things like a homeowner could do to help protect their home?
Just make sure doors and windows are locked. If you feel the need to have an alarm system, that would be helpful.
Right.
So,
Maybe like lights on timers and those kind of things.
right.
In 24 years you've been on, what's some of the bigger changes you've seen since you hired back in '94 to today in 2018?
Well, probably the biggest change is technology.
Okay.
We have computers in the cars now. We have all the information that we used to get from dispatch is right there in the car. Radio systems are, I think this is the third or fourth radio system that I've used since I've been here. Also females
Right.
that work law enforcement. Back when I started, there may have been a handful. Now there's quite a bit that work at our department as well as elsewhere.
And that something just comes to mind that in 1975, when I was with Columbus, I was a coach, and a coach is someone that breaks in new officers. And up until that time, they had never had a female officer assigned to patrol. They would be hired, but they're primarily assigned to the juvenile bureau. And so I had the opportunity to be the coach of the first female to be in the patrol division. And it was such a big deal back then that we had a television, I think it was Channel 6 from Columbus, they rode with us and they talked to her, and it was kind of a big event. And now today it's pretty common, isn't it?
Common, yes.
Yeah. Well, we're just about out of time. Supervisor of the Year, Sean Burke. Do appreciate you, Sergeant, for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate your service with the SWAT team and
Thank you.
and your just steadfastness over the years, and certainly you're deserving of the award for this year. No doubt about it.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're just about out of time. We do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, that join us each and every week. Our behind-the-scenes executive producer is Kelly Roberts. Does a really good job lining the guests up, getting a lot of the questions together for the program, and certainly the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy. And if it wasn't for Fairfield Christian Academy, we wouldn't be able to have this program. So they've been steadfast now for the past 17 years on radio and the last 8 or 9 on television. I'm appreciative of the school and the resources that let this program, or gives us an ability to have a program like this that is viewed in so many different domains. We get a lot of nice comments off and on during the year about the program. Appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, and the clock on the wall says we're about out of time. Till next week, if you're driving, buckle up and God bless.